It's the Greater Wealth here on Edge Radio Australia. I'm Malloy with you, and it's been far too long, mate, without you in the chair.
I can hear you.
You can. Oh, look at this. There's so much going on. I don't know what's going on personally because we've got new tech. It's like every single week we've got new tech. We've got the boy over there playing Lego, Mr. Cartier. Lovely to see you.
Well, okay, yes. So for the people who don't know, we're now on I've turned a bar into a computer.
Of course, as you do.
Like
right?
an alcoholic bar.
Sure.
So,
sure.
I
So
can
the drinks
probably-
are always cold.
I can probably actually move the camera
Not
so
with a
people can
computer,
see. But no, the problem is I don't like occupational health and safety. Probably shouldn't see this.
Yeah. Forget what. There's nothing to see here. Please move on. Now, with that, let's jump straight into the show.
Broadcasting safe
Oh.
and effective.
That's exactly. Hey, over the last 3 years, a couple of bit of dodgy wiring. It's okay, mate. Like compared to what else
it's
we've
not
had.
dodgy.
No,
just
it's
don't touch
He
it.
was soldering before we went live to air, There's just sparks flying everywhere.
Oh, it just reminds me.
It just shows how much Derek understands about building computers. Because first of all,
Actually, soldering, no, I'm thinking
There'd
metalwork,
be
aren't I?
no
Yeah, there's
sparks and stuff.
soldering. Yeah, okay.
if you
Smoke going everywhere. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm not
there
going to
we
say
go.
anything against your work, Mr. Cartier. I'm just going
hey,
to say
it works
I-
sometimes.
I often think it's like a back street in Bangkok. I'm just saying that. Okay.
No, I'm thinking it's more like the electrical wiring in Bali and Vietnam, and
yeah.
all the electrical wires are going up through the trees and things like that.
Well,
So-
that's like Sydney when people are charging their electric cars now. That's how it looks. So it's a good look. It's a good look. Let's get into the show, my friend. Now, I'm going to take the old headphones off because I don't need them anymore. But I want to know what we're going to delve into first.
Can you imagine? You've got a contract in place. You're going to be hosting one of the biggest sporting events in the world, and you're getting a phone call going, look, I'm going to have to cancel on you and pull out of that contract and not do it anymore. I mean, only half the world's going to this
Only
entire
half.
Commonwealth.
So big.
Yeah, it's been really interesting sort of week watching that, and also how the story's kind of washed over since the whole cancellation of the Commonwealth Games
Hasn't it
by
been
the
special?
Victorian
Let's-
government. They were saying, look, it's going to blow out a budget. The initial projection was of $2.6 billion Australian, and then their budgets went to $6 billion, and they're going, look, we can't justify doing this. And
Well,
they're
but
selling
sounds
the
like
reason
Snowy 2.0.
as this is great fiscal economic management and policy. And
Well, this is the Victorian government, and if we've learned anything about the Victorian government, they're really good with numbers. Okay, like they're
what,
to be trusted.
fudging the numbers.
I tell you what, they must have the most creative accountants that you could. Well,
their
since
debt's
the
grown.
concrete
I
guys in
really
New
want to
York.
make this
But there you go.
political here because I can, and you know what?
You will.
Go stuff yourself. So, for false allegations,
Mm.
Pauline Hanson got sent to jail for false allegations around political funding.
Yes.
Dan Andrews has totally butchered this, and he's not going to get our jail free card. It's like, oh no, he did the right thing to cancel this because it's not cost us too much money.
Okay, so let's
Right.
look at the
What a
debt of
crock
the
of
state.
shit.
Let's have a look at Victoria's debt. It's a growing debt burden, and it's
90% of Australia's
it's
debt. No,
forecast to
that's
grow
not
from
true.
135.4 billion in 2024 to 171.4 billion by 2026 to 2027. Now, that means that if you look at the economy, the state's economy, and what it projects, it'd be approaching, they reckon the projections mean their net debt as a proportion of the state economy be approaching by 2026, 24%. And of course,
one
you got to
state,
remember that they're facing
24%.
an election in Victoria this year.
Hang on. What? Didn't they just have one 5 minutes ago?
Like,
I'm getting
there's
confused.
so many by-elections running around
Oh.
at the moment. So
Wow.
don't forget, we've still got the Rockingham by-election yet as well for McGowan.
Yeah, well, don't get me started on that.
Hey,
But
have you
there
seen the
go.
polls on that one? We'll get into that one later.
We shall. We shall.
So-
But seriously, sorry to just cut you short there. But honestly, it just genuinely feels like 12 months ago that the Victorians were at the polls. And like, because
New South Wales, by the way.
okay, was it okay? There you go. Because it seems so fresh. Because no, I was walking around all lost.
New
I
South
felt like-
Wales, Victoria. What's
Oh,
the difference? They're both woke as hell. Who cares?
To be sure. Look, I'm telling you right now.
One's Irish, one's Scottish. Who cares?
Look, a year ago, I was walking around and I was like John Travolta in that meme, right? Okay, from Pulp Fiction.
You are a meme.
I'm looking around. I'm thinking, how did they possibly put this idiot back in power, right? Like, honestly, when
I thought you knew they
Andrews-
rigged it.
It just makes no sense. Well, apparently he got the votes for the
Donkey votes.
Yeah, yeah.
They were the
yes.
donkey votes.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
you look at their how to vote card, it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes. Nothing sus.
So I've heard, I don't know how they calculate this, like the electoral commission,
Mm.
but something like 10% of people donkey vote. which
Wow.
means they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if they're all donkey voting, that
Mm.
means he's just picked up 10% immediately, and he only won by I think 4 or 5% in the
There
end.
you go.
So-
there you go.
And that was the first time that only his seat and someone else's seat were digitally assigned the order,
I know.
and he just happens to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8.
He's the luckiest man alive. I'll tell you right
So-
now. Well, let's talk about the finance of it, okay? Because it's just a small blowout. And I did actually see a meme about 2 hours ago, which made me, I had a big smile. on my
Had a
face.
belly chuckle.
I
did you?
did. It was
You
a
had
good
a belly
chuckle, let me
chuckle.
tell you. Right? Everything shook.
Okay,
right?
let's talk money for a moment
Okay.
in terms of Victoria. So the money that they were going to spend, the
Mm.
2 billion
Yep.
or so, roughly, they're still saying we're going to spend this on regional Victoria.
Okay.
Now,
Bullshit. It's to fill the gaps in the Snowy 2.0.
okay. So what I was going to say is that the way they set this up from the beginning, it was going to be expensive
Okay.
because just the logistics of a big event of moving people from A to B is a
Mhm.
big deal. Not only have you got the fans, but you've got the athletes, okay?
Yep.
And you've got all the officials and entourage that come with the athletes.
Security as well. on top
And
of
then
that.
you've got all the politicians that come from
Mhm.
interstate, and if you've got royal families coming, I mean, this is you're talking security,
Oh,
you're talking
Yeah.
major.
You don't get
infrastructure to do
Meghan
this.
Markle cheap. I mean,
Now-
let's face it.
I don't know. Harry got a cheap.
So Melbourne is very well. I don't know if you've been to Melbourne, but
No.
Melbourne is very well set up in terms of its sporting facilities.
Okay.
In relation to you take the train in,
Yep.
and you've got about 5, 6, 7 different facilities all in the one spot. You've
Sorry,
got
I
the-
hate Melbourne. I
the-
do
you've
everything
got
I
the
can
Mel-
to stay away from it.
Yeah, but I'm talking public transportation. Just think of logistics,
The
right?
trams. The trams. The romance of the trams, just running people over. Perfect.
Getting
That
people
would be-
in and out of a sporting complex in Melbourne, they've done that well. All
Mm,
right, they do
I
it very
agree.
well every weekend at the Melbourne Cricket Ground and that sort of stuff.
Yep.
As far as the football is concerned, or if the cricket's on or whatever, they do that well.
I thoroughly agree.
They've got the Flemington Raceway there. They've got the Rod Laver Arena
Mm-hmm.
there. It's all in the one location. You'd wonder, hey, wouldn't it have been better off to use some of those facilities to host the Commonwealth Games, and then you wouldn't have to spend so much on infrastructure and worrying about getting people from A to B. Now,
Yep.
That would
They've-
be a smart thing to do.
they've decided to do this in an expensive way and go, well, we're going to put that infrastructure in regional areas. And I've got nothing against the regional areas. I'm totally supportive, given
Sure.
what we've been doing lately, of regional areas. However, you've just got to think logistically, getting from A to B becomes a lot harder to do.
Extra cost. Yeah, absolutely.
So from the beginning, I think it was kind of just going. Now I can understand. Think about it this way. Remember the Los Angeles Olympic Games going back many decades?
1984.
now?
Yeah.
You know, I was born 83.
They did it really well then. You know why they did it really well?
Labor was cheap.
because the Russians boycotted it. Why?
Because they used an already existing stand,
Yes,
an
yes.
arena,
Yeah, I
which
remember
was the football arena that
Okay.
they used.
They
right?
jazzed it up a bit, though, didn't they?
Of course they
Yeah,
did,
okay.
but that's a lot easier than just starting from
Yeah,
scratch. It's
yeah.
easy to put on, facades and
Spot on.
all
Just
that sort of
give
stuff.
it a lick of paint, spit polish, and we're good to go.
So dig a little deeper. I think that event was for the Americans actually a profitable event, hosting
Really?
Olympic Games at that. I would
Wow.
have to.
Well,
I'd have
actually,
to double check my numbers on
I've
that.
heard this that apparently only a few countries, especially like third world countries, don't actually make a lot of money off the Commonwealth Games and the Olympic Games.
Right.
So even with all the expenses to
Mm.
build everything, the amount of tourism that comes in, the infrastructure, because people got to pay for food and all that sort of stuff. They don't just go for the Olympic Games or the Commonwealth Games, but they also go touring around. They go to regional centres. It's a massive economy boost to actually host an Olympic
Well, this
Games.
comes down to who does the figures, right? Who actually does the numbers when they do the
Mm.
studies? Because many years ago, I used to deal with Events Corp, which is the organisation that looks after events in West Australia, because
Mm.
my links with Telstra Rail Australia and all of that sort of thing. So now it's very interesting because when they wanted the rally, when the rally was going really, really well and it was great, the numbers they gave us were superb. But the moment that Mark McGowan decided to can the rally, then the stats coming from the exact same organisation were very, very different indeed.
Hmm.
So that concerns me. It does, honestly, because if with any event, right, if you want to go forward and you want to make it profitable,
Hmm.
let's make sure we've got the right numbers. We haven't got propaganda, we've got genuine numbers.
The
That's
thing-
never going to happen. We're in WA.
Look,
Like-
Victoria prides itself though in events.
Mm.
Okay, they
Yeah,
do. They've got
absolutely.
the Australian rules footy as far as sporting is
Yep.
concerned. They've got footy. They've got the rugby codes. They've got the cricket. They pride themselves on the Boxing Day Test match
Yeah.
that they get every year.
Did anyone actually watch that this year?
What's that?
The cricket. Like,
I
who
haven't watched it.
watches
No,
the cricket anymore?
This hasn't happened.
Well, this
Like
is an
2020
interesting.
Big Bash.
This is an interesting point you raise. They get Rally Australia over there in Victoria, but you raise a very interesting point. What is this going to do? Who watched the Commonwealth Games here the last time it was on?
I can hear crickets right now. I really
Like,
can.
I don't even watch TV. Full
Yeah,
stop. Like
yeah.
we do not have a TV in our house.
So
Like, why?
I can understand in terms of, you know, what are the legal ramifications for Victoria now moving forward? Breaching this contract is a question coming into the thing. How much is that going to cost them?
They'll just get a donation from Xi Jinping to cover the
That's
losses.
right. Yeah.
So it's really interesting in terms of that spectrum, but also put it in context of this. Now that we've got the Queen is officially dead, we've got the King.
You sure she's dead?
the
I thought she
first-
was a blue blood and she's like gone somewhere else. No, sorry, that's down the rabbit hole. Ignore everything I just
Please
said.
say that.
There's tinfoil under that beanie of his.
Hey, this is the beanie my nana made me. It's so comfortable and it hides my bed hair.
So
Thank you.
what is going to happen? I mean, the King Charles is now, hey, the Commonwealth Games go over there. How does this look when they don't know where they're going to host it right now?
Oh, if it's going to happen, full stop.
When
right?
is it due to happen?
Well, it's 2026 that it was supposed to be happening in Victoria.
Right.
Now, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has said, we'll do it. Well,
Really? I
he's
didn't know
bidding
that.
for it.
Mm.
Now, bear in mind that they were the last to host it. It wasn't all that long ago that Gold Coast had it in 2018, though.
Yeah, okay.
So
Okay.
you just go, look, guys,
It's time to give it to Tyre.
how's the you got what 4 or 5 acres out your way?
I have. I can do it in the front paddock. Hey,
You
where
can
we go.
host it out
Yeah,
there.
I
I'll
could.
take a
I'd
lazy
rock
$1 billion
up.
to renovate.
Exactly. Look, with,
I'll
with,
give
o-
you $1 for that.
with only 2 toilets, there's going to be lines. I'm telling you that now.
Hey, come on. Have you ever gone to a footy match?
Oh, good point. Good
Like
point.
there's lines
Yeah.
regardless of what you do. So
Oh, that-
and it's like $12 for like 3 chips and a bun.
I'm just going to tell you, it's going to smell bad behind the shed. Okay.
Just get the broadcast rights for it, all right?
I'll
That's
get
what
it
you got. That's what you gotta
Please.
push
I'm
for.
working on it now.
The best party I ever went to was it was like a 50th birthday party, and it's funny you said out the back of the shed, and I went out there, and there's all these pipes dug into the ground. I'm thinking, what the hell? Anyway, what it is, so dudes don't just like piss all over the walls and stuff like that.
Right.
They actually set up all these pipes for the guys to aim down the hole.
Is
So
that
it's
right?
so all the stench is underneath the ground instead of like just like pools of piss
These
all over the ground.
50-year-olds, they're thinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, it was brilliant. So
I'd like to ask
anyway.
our audience if it's all right.
Oh,
What do you think
absolutely.
about this whole thing? Do you think that is a good economic policy to cancel the Commonwealth Games, or do you think they should have gone ahead with it? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I'm very interested to know what actually people out there think about this, because we've seen the press conference, and the press conference was just an absolute car crash, right? Like honestly, just watching it, it was just embarrassing for Victoria, but also just embarrassing for Australia. And I do appreciate we've had some very tough times for obvious reasons over the last few years, and no, China can't just bankroll it like everything else in Victoria.
why not?
So, well, here's my point. Like, okay, why don't you just do it intelligently, use the facilities like you say, okay? And I appreciate it. Would have been great to take it out to the towns and that. But ultimately, sometimes you've just got to make the best of a shitty situation. You've got to, harness what you've got and make that happen. Now, I reckon if they'd used the MCG, etc., the tennis centre, all of those sort of places, they could have brought it back to cost. They could have actually done it for what they promised. And I think that if they'd been frugal, this is a big thing. Like in business, it's not what things sell for, it's what you buy them for, right? The cost involved, right? So fundamentally, if you can lower your costs, I'm not saying have a WA salvage Commonwealth Games here, right? But I'm saying if you pare it down and you basically are very smart about your facilities, you could make it profitable. And what it brings to the state, and as I say, my experience with Rally Australia is, like, I still to this day, and we haven't had Rally Australia since 2008, right? In Western Australia, that is. Okay, I still go to these little towns. I still go to these places, and I see how, like, they without that business, without that injection of 2 weeks a year, how much it's damaged them, right? So, like, I can understand why in Victoria they'd want to take that out there, but at the same time, sometimes you've got to get what you've got, make the most of it. So, for my opinion, is actually to use your point of view of use the facilities they've got, make it happen.
I think what's also, I mean, we forget that Victoria has the longest lockdown in the Western world than of any state of Melbourne. This has cost them dearly.
Yeah.
And it's cost the country towns dearly too, because people weren't allowed to move to them. In fact, most people were trying to just get out of the state.
Yeah.
And so this is the cost, this is the price. You've extended the credit card. And I think they were bidding for them in 2019 for the games originally, the Commonwealth Games. But I mean, you put this in perspective, this has been around since 1930, the Commonwealth Games. What does this do? One, to the Commonwealth Games, and it's, you know, we've had a nation now or a state pull out and go, we don't want it now.
Yep.
You'd be going, gee, okay, that's really going to tarnish our
Oh,
reputation.
it does.
Big time.
Absolutely.
The other
Pers-
international event is FIFA World Cup. So you've got
Yeah.
FIFA and the Olympic Games. These are the two probably biggest sporting events globally
For sure.
that happen.
Mm.
And now you've had this one where Commonwealth was probably up there in third or fourth, and that's gone. Boom.
Yeah, but okay, there's also, I don't know if I'm right on this, but I'll tell you what, I feel confident in saying this. In my opinion, Dan Andrews used the Commonwealth Games as an election promise. He used it to get votes because it was a desperate man who basically knew that, you know, he had the longest lockdowns in the entire world. Such negativity, I think he used it. I personally, I've got a strong feeling that maybe it was never going to happen. Maybe it was an empty promise, or maybe it was one of those promises of, you know, maybe you're going to get that bite for Christmas, right?
So, going back to the first question about should Melbourne keep the Commonwealth Games? Personally, I think yes.
Okay.
Couple of reasons. There's not enough infrastructure being constructed in the regional centres already. So,
Sure.
Australia has this terrible problem of centralisation.
Yep.
Everything is central to the capital cities. So the other one is they're going to say the regional centres. So when they say regional centres, they're not talking like beyond the Black Stump and Woodward, where they're talking like Wagga Wagga, which is like an hour and a half out of the city.
Sure.
So they're still metro centres, but they're just semi-rural areas because they're not in the central location.
Well, you
so
can get to Ballarat, right, in 2 hours on the train, apparently.
spot on. So that's what I'm saying. So I think personally, I feel that they should go ahead with it, even out the cost, even if it costs $10 billion to build those infrastructure facilities outside of the major centre, I think is always going to be a good thing. It's going to generate jobs in those regional areas. The trickle down finances is going to help out a lot. And it's going to give people who, especially the ones that work in the city and they want a way out, is going to give them the option of, okay, so there's work out of the centre. So it gives them the ability to be able to relocate their family out of the city.
Okay.
So it's not just so much, yeah, it costs money, but what is it going to do for those societies?
Well, again, that's what my point
So
was
that's
about
why-
the country towns. It's such a stark difference, and there's a moment of sadness every time I drive into a country town now because I know, like I remember, I'm sorry to go back into it, but I see, like even when we were driving down south a couple of weeks ago when we went into Wagen, and I remember going through and seeing play equipment, right, that I know that Rally Australia paid for, right? I know, and I see that it's now these years later, it's getting worn down, it hasn't been maintained in that, and that's bloody sad for the kids in that area, right?
Yep.
So this ultimately, I think, end of the day, what we're seeing here is a very weak, and I'm going to say it, corrupt politician who's being exposed. In my opinion, as I say, as a man who has used this and he's embarrassed this nation, he's certainly embarrassed Victoria.
Hey, are you talking about Martin McGowan here?
Yeah, I am. Yes. No, I'm not. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not. You stuck that one on me.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, thank you. I
thought it was
appreciate
good.
that.
I thought it was funny.
Enjoy that by-election. Anyway,
Oh,
that's good stuff. We're going to go to a break, my friend. Okay, very quickly. Well, I think we might even have to come back to this because it's a big subject. All right, then, Radio Australia. I've actually gone with the Snake Charmers because let's face it, he's a bit of a snake charmer himself.
Good. All right. So, ladies and gents, we've switched over to the camera mics. Catherine's on. The Victorian government's were going to build on Olympic-sized pool to demolish it the day after the game's finished. Interesting. So they were saying they're going to build everything, just demolish it at the same time. So no way, seriously. Well, that's what Catherine was saying.
Yeah,
So, welcome to the stream, Catherine.
and this is what gets me is why wouldn't you just build that, reuse it?
That's common sense. Why would exactly that? And like, okay, they're talking about putting them in the regional areas. That's fantastic, right? Okay, you think about, I mean, let's say I'm in my experience or WA towns, but I think that you go places out and about into the wheat belt or these swimming pools and facilities like that. They get so much use, as they should, because they become the hub of the town.
So it's only like third world countries like Brazil where they don't have the money to maintain the upkeep. Because a lot of these facilities, it actually costs a lot of money to live.
Oh, of course, no doubt.
So, and also they don't have the expertise. So, especially with Olympic Games, like what happened with Brazil, all the technicians and the professionals who knew how to maintain these things went over to Brazil to set everything up for them. But then once they went, there's no one to look after it. So now all the Olympic-sized swimming pools are full of mold and chlorine, and they just haven't been looked after properly. So, yeah.
So I can't say I'm surprised,
I
unfortunately.
have to say, this is a hell of a funky song.
You like it?
I do actually. It's been a long time since I've heard it.
That's good stuff. Good try. Oh dear. Well, this is weird because I can't see the screen anymore. Not that I could really see much
Hey,
before.
you never said anything.
Yeah, okay. It feels funny.
What? Oh, hang on. I forgot I could click on Catherine to like for the comments up.
Pardon?
I forgot I could click on Catherine and her comment can pop up for the stream online. So thanks for joining us, Catherine, as well. Lovely having you here.
Absolutely.
I've been following Catherine for a while now, and some of her comments, she gets right into the politicians. It's awesome.
Okay, which Catherine have we got here?
This is Catherine Cavaney.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I know who you're talking about. Fantastic. No, I would agree that Catherine's been having a real go. In fact, while we've got Catherine there, yes. Did you enjoy the interview with Arby that we had replayed last night?
I hate to say this.
You missed it again.
I still haven't listened
Oh, yeah. Well, just so everybody knows sort of how we're working. Long term, obviously, we're working to having storage that we can put all our previous interviews and
to it.
shows
Oh,
on.
the storage is created.
Fantastic. That's
So
the man
we
who does the IT. There we go.
I'm not responsible for this one. This is Dwayne put this
Oh,
together for us. So Dwayne will be.
Dwayne is a legend.
He's creating a. This is like new. No one else has done this yet, and he's
Okay.
about to be a station sponsor too. Thank Christ for that. So he's created effectively a Dropbox, but located here in Perth.
Okay.
So there's two ways. So the business model for people. So if you want to own your own hardware,
Yep.
he will host it, store it, and look after it for you.
Okay.
But it's your hardware.
Okay.
So what happens with Dropbox? If you, let's say you've got a Dropbox account, it's over like hundreds of hard drives,
Okay.
but you don't own the hardware. So if you want your data back, if you want the physical data back, you can't get it.
No way.
So what Dwayne's like to do is like if you want to buy the hard drive,
Yep.
it uses storage. So it's on a QNAP system. So there's all backups and everything. So it's not one hard drive, you've got to buy a couple of hard drives. If you go, right, I want my data back, he just pulls it out of the server, gives you the actual physical hard drive back.
How good's that?
Or if you don't want to pay for the hardware up front, he can actually do a monthly subscription fee,
Right.
same as what Dropbox does, and you're just on his service.
So many
So,
people, and I talk to a lot of people about this. Okay, honestly, I'm really worried about their data. That's
Yeah.
a big issue, right? With clouds and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that Apple charged me ridiculous amounts. I had to keep some stuff for 7 years for a particular event that I had to
Yeah.
keep stuff for, and literally that cost me $15 a month for
Yeah.
it.
So if you buy
I
your
couldn't
own,
access it myself. Like,
yeah. So
free.
what Dwayne was going to do, if you buy the hardware yourself, all he's going to do is charge you like a setup fee at the start,
Yep.
and like a very tiny fee for power, internet, all that sort of stuff
Okay.
to make it work. And then if something happens, obviously you'll have his costs to maintain it.
Okay.
So which I think is a brilliant model because you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And it's your data. Like if you want to totally encrypt it, you can. So because you got to remember, like Dwayne's background, like radar engineering, all the cryptic signals going backwards and forwards for airplanes and stuff like that. So he's absolutely knows what the hell he's doing. So that's going to be really exciting. So that actually come off. So I've already got an account and I've been playing around setting stuff backwards and forwards. I've sent this show to Derek using it as well, and Derek loves it, don't you, Derek?
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Well, what I'm looking forward to is when we've got the ability, people come to the Dead Radio Australia website, go through and go, I want to watch a show from, XYZ, right? And they'll go click on it and listen or watch
The
it.
coolest thing about it, though, you can actually get this app on your phone. So let's say for bookkeeping purposes,
Yeah.
you take a photo of a receipt and you can save it directly to the QMAS.
Yeah, okay.
And
Wow.
then your accountant or bookkeeper or whoever deals with it can just grab it straight off the QMAS. And you can set up different profiles. It's like a virtual computer online, where your accountant gets shit off it. Like if you've got staff that work for you, they can jump in, they'll have their own profile, so they'll have access to this file, but not this file. So you can set permissions and everything. It's phenomenal, the system.
Dwayne's brilliant at that sort of stuff. That's awesome.
Let's see, from Catherine again, I think we need an independent media hub like the Kiwis have. They have all the links on this one site, especially if this misinformation bill comes in. Now, that's the other thing as well, VPNs.
Yes.
So if the misinformation thing does become a real problem, we can always just say we're in Russia or wherever.
You said that at the worst time.
How much
Just
time we got?
watered my lungs, but
Talking of water in your lungs.
I hope so. Now we have 2 seconds, 50 seconds to go. On a completely separate note, for those who are listening online and to you guys, guess what I did yesterday?
A poo.
Thank you for that beautiful image for everybody.
It's good to keep the bowels moving.
Right, well, now with 30 seconds, I drove an Aston Martin. Yes, thank you very much.
I overtook one.
Was it called Valerie?
What's it called? You overtook one.
I overtook one right here.
There you go. I'll tell you, if I was driving it, you wouldn't overtake it.
What sort of Aston Martin?
Oh,
A Vanquish?
indeed. That was beautiful.
Oh, guess who's joined us? Courage is a cure.
Hey, how are we, Robin? Okay, hang on. We're back on in a few seconds. Are you ready?
No, I'm just switching the mics down.
Edge Radio Australia. It is the Greater Wealth here on a Monday.
was
We're
clean.
kicking back. Very, very clean indeed. I don't know what was clean. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, the
Come on.
transition from the microphone in the camera to the these microphones.
I wonder
profiles.
if one day you can keep some of these thoughts in your head. I'm just saying.
Why?
Okay, just saying.
It's called transparency, Amy.
Yeah, I'm
So
all
the
for it.
transparency for the mind. No, circulates just like there's no filter.
Maybe doesn't care.
I'm sure everybody out there doesn't need to know all the ins and outs of behind the scenes, but thank you for that, mate.
You appreciate it, Travis, for your clean
Yeah,
transitions.
You're definitely very special. All right. Well, let's get back into it
My
anyway.
mum's that dumb that too.
Jeez. Now,
Hey, mum.
again,
And
I
Nan.
want to go to please throw a cushion at him. So do something, mate. Where are we going now? Because I actually want to talk a little bit more
Oh,
about that, but I don't.
I'm
Want to
going
Let's
to
talk about that. Let's talk about that, and
Subiaco.
we'll talk about this a bit later. So, what do you want to? What,
Oh, look! I just think that. I mean, look.
Pauline's in
Okay.
town.
Yes, Pauline is in town.
Yeah, so
okay.
after this, like you're saying, where are we going? So I said, I'm going to Subiaco.
Okay.
Yeah. Show's out 6, Pauline. Dinner and feed and
And he's
no
already
to the
dressed and
voice.
ready to go, as I can
Oh,
see.
come on. I'm getting ready for the protesters.
Really?
Yeah.
You think there's going to be protests?
Oh, the place has been getting cased out. Like
Oh,
yesterday, we had to put a heap of extra security guards on and everything. So this is going to be exciting.
Oh, you've just ruined it for me in a
Why?
different way. Because I'm not going to be there.
Why not?
Interesting.
The leprechaun won't be there,
I don't care about the leprechaun. Couldn't care less.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
the leprechaun was singing.
apparently, but he pulled out. Like, there's a very interesting
Jeez.
email I'll show you
I,
later.
I will tell you right now. I wish his father did, but never mind.
Hey, come on. This is a wealth show, not a
It
filth
is.
show.
In fact, I won't go where I was going to go. Let's get
You
back
already
into,
have it.
please. Let's go to something
we-
that you wish to talk about.
we've been talking about the whole thing about the Commonwealth Games,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
the cancellation
And the-
of it, and whether
Come
that
on,
was
Dan
a smart
Andrews pulled out of it.
was that a smart economic decision or not. You had some further thoughts on this.
Oh, look, just the fact that, okay, I worry that it's causing the damage it's causing to the reputation of Australia. I think it gives a stink to the whole country rather than just Victoria. Victoria have got, let's face it, okay, an absolute, like this ridiculous grip on sporting events in this country. In fact, I think if I was in charge, and I mean, let's face it, well, Albo's certainly not in charge of anything, but if I would be spreading the love a little bit. As a sporting events, having so many major events based in Victoria, okay, it really does damage the rest of the country. You know, we're supposed to be showcasing this country, and if we had decent politicians, if we're decent people at the federal level, they would be making sure that these were being shared around. It's no good having, okay, the major tennis event, okay, the major football event, the major motorsport events. Why are they all coming out of it, right?
Well, you're not dying like me on this one. It's not a federal government thing.
No.
I know it's not.
So the
But
federal
no, I know.
government shouldn't
And
have
on-
anything to do with this.
And
one.
on
It's
that, they
the
were seeking
state.
federal funding for the Commonwealth Games,
Right.
and they didn't get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So-
you know what I'm seeking? I absolutely appreciate that they are two different things, but I think that the federal government should be thinking about the Federation of Australia, the whole country as a whole, right? And when I see right now, we've got basically one state that's getting everything, right? You got basically, look,
Yeah, that's
Victoria's-
because that one state is bidding for things. Like
Yes.
WA didn't bid for it. I don't think Queensland bidded for it. New South Wales didn't bid for it.
I think
So, like, you can't blame Victoria for getting all these sporting events when they're the ones that actually bid for
I'm
it.
not actually blaming Victoria. I'm
Yeah.
blaming our federal government.
Yeah, but that's not a federal government thing.
Yeah, I think
So
they should
it's the
step in.
state government needs to get off their ass and actually start doing things.
Okay.
So prime example, so the city of Geraldton. So a lot of people hate Shane Van Stein, but he's actually done some amazing things for Geraldton. So there was a government grant to redo all the curbs, driveways, footpaths in all the regional centres, like $180 million or something. You know, the only mayor that applied for that grant,
No,
Geraldton.
no way.
Shane Van Stein got the entire pool of funds because he was the only one that applied.
Right.
So you can't blame the Victoria for this one or blame the federal government, because it's not a federal government thing, it's a state government thing. So the state government, the tourism minister, needs to get off their actually ass and actually do what they're meant to be doing. And we've seen it time and time again that the Labor government is fucking useless. The Liberal government is not far behind. They're both useless. So
There's also this aspect too, is when you put on an event, what's the risk? Nobody's going to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yep.
We know that Victorians love going to events. They love it.
they have
love
the population
Yeah,
for
no, I
it.
get that. I
Perth
get that.
doesn't.
So there's a
Queensland
risk
doesn't.
putting on these events. Okay, so putting something, you've got to remember the population size is different in some way, like Adelaide or Darwin or
Sure.
Queensland, WA. We
Yeah.
don't have the populations where New South Wales and Victoria are close enough that they can still attend, even if it's out of state.
Yeah, but I get that. Okay, but you take the V8 supercars up in Darwin. Okay, they couldn't be more isolated. Okay, and people flood in for that, and the locals absolutely support it, right?
Yes,
Because
but that's V8 supercars. Like, who wouldn't travel half a country to go see the V8 supercars?
I've travelled the whole country to watch
Spot
V8
on.
So would you travel
Exactly.
half a country to go see the Commonwealth Games?
Would
No,
you travel half
'cause
a
I do-
country to
'cause
watch
I-
some transgender dude beat up a whole heap of chicks and swimming?
Well, I don't identify with them, so that doesn't help. And and that is a problem for me from the point of view of I honestly, when I watch the Olympic Games or the
You love your synchronized swimming. I mean,
I'm
admit it.
right up
You-
there.
You know
Get
how
that peg on my
evil some
nose,
of them
I'm
look?
ready to go. I actually, funny enough, I enjoy the Winter Olympics the most of all. And how can I identify with that? You know why? Because I love the luge and the bobsled. That to me is
I just love the fact
That's-
that Jamaicans won the bobsled once.
No, they never won it, mate.
Oh, they won
just got
a
to-
race to get
no,
there.
they didn't. They competed, which is wonderful. But yeah, what I'm getting at is like, okay, I think you might be onto something because, certainly I struggle to see a sport in the Commonwealth Games that appeals to me. You know, like, okay, no offense to people who are winning walking marathons, but you just look
boring
like a
as
duck to
batshit.
me. You know what I mean?
You
It
know what
doesn't
we
do it
need?
for me.
We need V8 supercars in the Olympics.
Done.
Like,
I'm onto it.
people might actually start. They've got BMX, they've got skateboarding now. They've got some of these more extreme sports. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how BMX racing is extreme.
Oh, but
but
it's
anyway,
it's like virtue signaling 101 everywhere. Okay, on the weekend we had the Hungarian Grand Prix last night. Okay,
can you imagine the Grand Prix as an Olympic sport?
yes, but you can't make that work because you'd
Why
have to
not?
have all identical cars and teams and whatever. Right now,
Why?
it has been tried with A1 Grand Prix and then it went off the rails. It didn't work. Right, but what they're doing right now is like yesterday or over the weekend they had the new, I forget what it's called. I think it's called the F1 Academy, which is the new.
Don't they have
hang on.
motocross in the Olympics?
No, don't think so.
I thought they did.
But we're bringing all these other sports in and we're virtue signaling left, right, and center. Okay, you can get a man in there who can pretend to be a woman and now he's a weightlifter or she's a weightlifter or he's.
I love what the Canadian coach did.
What's that?
So he entered in, the competition where the Kiwi bird was, well, the Kiwi guy who's a
Yep.
girl thing.
Yep.
So they won a high court challenge saying that they don't have to prove that they've transitioned. So the Canadians coach, full beard and everything, goes, "I'm a woman," and they
Yep.
said, "Oh, you can't compete," and he said, "Well, high court says I can,
That's
and I don't have to prove it." So he went every time the Kiwi chick did a lift, he went 100 pounds and won above.
Is that right?
And smashed all the records and everything, and
Yeah.
they had to accept
well,
it.
hang on, maybe.
And the transgender chick is the one that complained the loudest, and apparently she's allowed to compete because all the other competitors like her.
Okay. Well, hang on. Maybe we've just opened up a can of worms here, right? Maybe why this is not happening is maybe the relevance anymore. Because quite frankly, most people have had enough of this transgender carry on, right? When it comes to sport, you know what? In your own life, be who you want to be. I don't give a damn, right? Do you, right?
No, if
But
you're
if
going to be
you wanna-
transgender, commit, cut it off,
All right. No, but hang on. If you're going to play, if you're a man and you want to play women's sports, right?
cut it off.
You're a cheat. You are a cheat. That's what you are. Just as if you were taking enhancing drugs, you are a cheat. You can dance around, you can color it any way you like. You've got rainbows all over it. You're a cheat. And I
I
think
just
that-
love the meme that says, "If you don't want to compete in women's sport, commit."
Yeah.
Cut it off.
Yep. But maybe what I'm getting at here is have we just had enough of this crap?
I think it's interesting. For years, the anti-doping stuff was an issue
Yeah.
in Olympic Games and the Commonwealth Games and these kind of international sports.
Yep.
and even right back to the Tour de France and stuff
Mm,
like that.
yeah.
Neil
right?
Armstrong.
Now
Now
we're getting
for it.
into a situation where the public is being asked to accept those who are transitioning, and they're full of these hormones. And women are rising up and going, "This isn't fair. This is not
'Cause
fair.
it's not.
We've been training for how many
Yep.
years to compete in our chosen sport,
Yep.
and now we are dealing with this situation." And it's you can understand why the public are just going, "We've had enough of the wokeness." We're
Yeah.
seeing that, of course, in the entertainment sector. In sport is a sector. Let's face
Absolutely.
it, right?
It's
So
a business.
The woke, we've said it before, if you go woke, you go broke. We've
Mhm.
seen this time and time again. We're seeing the Bud Light response.
Yeah.
We're seeing in the United States. We're seeing it happen with Disney right now.
Yeah.
Their shares are reaching all-time lows. Their revenues are drastically going down. The interest is just waning. And
let's not forget. I mean, Snow White was a black man. That's how stupid it's gotten. It really has.
And Burt Reynolds did have a beard.
now we're seeing this go into sport now.
Yeah.
And you're going, the public is going, sorry, we just doesn't really.
Yeah. Because
Sorry.
honestly-
There's a comment here from Erica. Hello, boys. I have a bonus hole.
Well, hi, Erica.
What
Thank-
the hell?
Thank you for
Like-
the anatomy lesson. Right. I can't go anywhere on that.
I
There's nowhere I can go.
Time to go to a song, right?
Yes. It's time for a song. Do you know what the song that I've got queued up? We're going,
Oh, no.
oh, this is absolutely magic. We're going with Too Shy.
Oh, that's definitely not too shy.
Edge Radio Australia.
I'm leaving that comment up. It's too funny.
Okay.
All right, there we go.
All right. Gentlemen, back on target. When we come back,
Okay, she's trying to explain it now. Apparently, us girls have an extra hole. Have a bonus hole. That's her words, not mine. Talk about free speech.
yes. What you need, Erica, is one of our new T-shirts. Yes.
You know what we need to do? We need to start having like a comment of the month or the comment of the month.
Absolutely. How cool would that be? All right, we should do that. We need to write these things down and just have these ideas.
Yeah, I don't even know where the PowerPoint is.
There is
Is there? It's the sign of the times. Oh, can you reach? Should I show everyone my gouttières while I plug it in?
Please don't.
Hold on.
No, I'll do it for you.
No,
No, it's fine.
I'll do it over
because-
there, and then
No,
it'll
no,
be
no.
fine.
Give it out.
It's fine.
Well,
You, do you two need a room? I mean, come on.
I was like show everyone my glutes.
It's in the interest of public safety.
There's a reason why I'm looking over here. I need to see that.
I feel kind of lost because there's not a heap of crap on the floor anymore.
It does feel different, doesn't it?
Like if the studio feels empty with everything missing.
Without all your tributes. It's
It's
great, mate. No? For those who are listening online, yes, Travis has done some wonderful work. We now have, rather than the computer monitors and stuff, computer everything, we've actually got a new computer hiding away and a nice big TV.
Let's be honest. I turned a bar into a computer.
You did. You did.
I'm so proud of that. Like of all things that is just like, holy shit, how did you do that? I'm like, even though I don't know how it works.
Oh, dear. We need to finish it off, put some taps on the top of it, though. Get it done.
You know what we need?
So,
The on-off button needs to be like a...
how
Yeah.
good would that be?
So yeah.
All right. So when we get
I
back.
forgot to bring the telephone in.
Oh, yes.
We took, for those who've been to the studio, so Erica said Travis has his Dockers on his noggin. So it is Dockers. No, what it is, we went to Wagen and it's crazy cold, so my nana made me a tea.
Tea
Uh,
cozy.
What do they call it? A teapot warmer.
I call it tea cozy.
A tea cozy. Oh, so now I get Erica's comments. So, now health professionals are urged to call vaginas bonus holes to avoid offending trans and non-binary.
Oh my
parents.
god.
From the Daily Mail. I was watching you guys in Wage and it was great. Oh, it was a great event down at Wage. I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed in Phil because Phil's actually the Shire president.
Right.
And so he's actually got a lot of authority within the farming community. But he only did it, oh no, I'm just Phil, because apparently people can't separate the two. Are we going back to Ed?
How long we got?
We have, call it 4 minutes.
Okay. Anyway, so it would have been nice if he actually stood up as the Shire president to say, no, this is a load of shit. Because again, I never actually thought I'd be a Shane Van Stein supporter because his family owned all the pubs. So a lot of the roadworks and the beautification of Geraldton just so happened to be outside of all of these pubs. I mean, his mum's pubs.
Right.
So, but you know what? He's actually doing it genuinely.
Shall we call him Sir Joe? Because
he's actually doing a really, really good job. Like the amount of community works that he's got, the amount of community grants and all
Good,
that
I'm
sort of
really
shit.
glad.
He's actually doing a
Great.
really, really good job. Like I can't call it corruption. It is, but it's just miraculous how all the things that are getting approved just happen to be outside of these pubs. So yeah, and some of the excuses, like I've heard some of the council meetings, like I've seen some of the notes, and yeah, some of the reasoning. Like there was this one, there's a truck had clipped an overpass, so some of the buildings overhang the road, so a truck was going in there and they clipped the top. Anyway, so because they clipped the top, they had to renovate the road on a different street to make sure the truck doesn't hit the top again in a different street.
it's so Sir Joe. That's what it is.
So yeah, but you know what? He got it through. Why not?
Hi.
Roscoe.
No, that's definitely not Roscoe.
Who have we got today?
It's Connie.
Oh, hey, Connie.
Come back to the madness. Look, we haven't got wires and
Hey, Connie,
cables.
it works.
The computer that he was, the crazy computer he was building, it works.
Good.
It is now the computer.
The cool thing
We are
is,
broadcasting, by the way, on social.
yeah, we are. So just for the people listening in at home, we have got DJ Connie that's just coming to the studio. Is that what you're going for? Constar.
Yep.
The Constar is in. She's got a
That's
show.
right.
We've got a show today.
Yeah, I'm doing 2.
So I have to listen to that. And while I drive back
You do
to-
that, absolutely.
Yeah. To go piss off everyone.
And old Constar's got some golf. She's not the old. I shouldn't say that. Constar has got some awesome, tasty music. Because I was enjoying it last week. It's very, very cool. I'm looking forward to the drum and bass show you're going to do.
Are you doing drum and bass show?
Yeah.
Can I make a request in the video? DJ and Mark's really good one.
So it's too classic.
Yeah, about to say, come on.
The other one, the bit that I found really fascinating, Taylor Swift actually did a drum and bass song.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's just the chorus, but there's heaps of people turning into remixes for it. I can think of the words. It's the one in the video clip. She does this cool superhero pose. She jumps out of something and crashes.
Okay.
It's the one where she broke up with, I think, Harry Styles or something. So
Oh.
she did a breakup song.
How rare.
I'll find out. Oh, she breaks up with everyone, so it's okay. I'll find the name of the song. If you listen to the chorus, it's like it's
You heard the what's the difference between Tay Tay and the Clutch of My Car?
they're both burnt out.
No, the Clutch of My Car doesn't write a song about me every time I dump it. It's a
Did you want to jump into the show? Jump in.
You're welcome to.
We'll have to shimmy the camera a little bit, but that's okay.
Okay, Mr. Shimmy, we've got 50 seconds.
We'll cut Aaron off. That's okay.
That's right.
Have we got a mic there? Yeah. So this is the Greater Wealth Show, where we dribble crap about politics and pretend it's finance.
Some of us have a different pretext. That's his. All right. 30 seconds.
All right.
Who
So,
have we got online at the moment?
well, I'm just changing the audio.
You do that.
The Steinsberg is up there.
Edge Radio Australia, the greater wealth, with your face over there, doing what it does best. There's a little private joke right there for us. It's Aaron Malloy with you, and over there is Mr. Carter, doing his best to put me off and, quite frankly, just derail the show at all times. Derek Whitaker, whose job is to pretty much keep the show under control, and we have the Constar in for the first time as part of the show. So welcome.
Did you even turn on her?
No, I
mic?
turned yours off.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks,
yeah,
Aaron.
Yeah, it's all right.
So Connie does have a show out 2 to 4. Has it got a name yet? Not yet. We'll have to make up with it.
Oh, hang on. You're very, very quiet. Don't know what's going on there, but they're okay.
A little bit off the mic, but that's okay.
No, I think Mr. Carter, we've got. Anyway, we'll work on that. Okay, we'll get on to that one.
I've probably broken the microphone.
You probably have, mate.
Yeah.
Gee, you
Just
break
blame
everything.
Travis. I'm
You
never
just-
guess.
of
That's all
course.
good.
All right, Mr. Well, no, what? I'll keep
Are
away
we
from
doing the
you.
crypto deal?
Let's get back into some finance. Let's talk about that
Crypto,
right now.
crypto,
Yes.
Derek, crypto.
It was ongoing in the crypto world, the Ripple case versus the SEC. Now, for those who don't know what Ripple is a crypto coin that looks at streamlining transfers between banks
Yes.
internationally and is hoping to replace the SWIFT system that the banks do this through
Okay.
in international settlements. The SEC is basically the easiest way to explain that. It's the Australian version of ASIC, the Australian Securities Investment Commission. The SEC does this. And what the SEC, they took Ripple to court, basically saying that they had been selling a crypto asset. And XRP, actually, they've done this with a lot of coins and they've settled outside of court. But Ripple, I don't refer to it as XRP because it's also known as that.
Okay,
That's
okay.
The token.
the token. Can't think of the word,
Cryptocurrency.
not acronym, but the ticker that they trade
Okay.
on. So XRP
Okay.
is what it's known by. What they did is basically they challenged it and said, no, we don't accept that. And the High Court has ruled that the court has ruled that it's an investment contract rather than a security under the law. Now, why is that a big deal?
It's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal because this then starts recognizing cryptos as means of transfer of wealth as opposed to an
Oh.
asset.
And what is a transfer of wealth? A currency.
That's
Correct.
right.
And it has a huge implication on all the different space of crypto. And they've been watching this case. And when it came out, finally, bang, Ripple just went almost double
Okay.
in terms of the
Of course
value.
it would, yeah.
Yep.
No doubt.
The
And
other thing is you go start watching all the other currencies, they're starting to spike as well.
Right.
now it's cooled off since then, and it didn't get it was a partial win. It didn't get the full tick of approval because what did happen was that it didn't accept, the court did not accept that it would be accepted as far as the sales to unregistered sales of securities to hedge funds. So from an industry perspective, it said no, what was done, this was clearly set up in a situation that you were selling and setting it up as something that was an asset. So there's a technicality there that they're having to work through. And the SEC has since this time appealed the decision of the court on that. So it's ongoing. But again, the fact that they got it this far and challenge it is
Yeah, absolutely.
huge news for the crypto world.
Okay. Because I mean, look, crypto's here to stay. The old toothpaste is out the tube. You keep seeing those who, with the different organisations in the US, particularly, trying to control it, trying to keep everybody tied to the fiat system.
It's not here to stay because they don't try and move everyone across to
Well, this is
digital
true.
currency.
This is true.
So the
They'll try,
concept,
but will they succeed in that?
I don't think they will.
I don't
because
think they will either.
I think Bitcoin and Ethereum will become the gold and silver. They will become the cash of the crypto world.
What the court found as a matter of law, Ripple's XRP, and this is on Ripple's website, Ripple's XRP sales and exchanges, not securities. They were ruled when they did that, when they sold it on exchanges, they were not selling securities. They also said XRP sales by Ripple executives, and the rule is not securities. And Ripple's XRP distribution to developers, to charities, and to employees, not securities. So those three things are very, very significant in the crypto world.
So I'm excited by this because as much as I love cash, I don't think cash will survive another 10 years.
It's not
I
looking
think
good,
there's
is it?
there's
No.
there's too many world leaders who are pushing to go to a central digital currency, central bank digital currency. There's too many people pushing for one world economy, one world currency for everything. I think people need to be prepared for when each country has their own currency dissolved. I think they need to be ready, and that they need to find a way how they can transact privately without the banks getting involved and without the governments getting involved. And so I think this is hugely important.
It's also very important too in terms of taxation. Now, are there going to be taxation implications for the United States? Because if it's not looked at as an asset, so to speak, would there be capital gains tax on these sort of tokens?
Well,
and
if
this
it's not
sort
an
of stuff?
asset, there shouldn't be capital gains.
Yeah.
So I already know a heap of people have already been nailed in Australia for
Right.
trading on Bitcoin, Ethereum, stuff like that. They've
Yep.
lost an insane amount of money because they got nailed as the
Capital
capital,
gain.
gains, and there was another one they got nailed with income tax as well on top of it. So they ended up losing something like 70% of their earnings
Mhm.
because
Right.
of tax.
Yep.
So will they get their money if this is now deemed as a currency? You don't pay stamp duty on currency.
See, the thing is too is if Australia doesn't embrace this rule, then how many people who are very serious crypto traders
Yep.
just move internationally?
Of course
and
they
go
will. That's
right. I
exactly-
see you
Well,
later.
we've already made that decision. We're moving all our stuff overseas.
Yeah.
So
And,
we're,
look,
we're
it's
not sticking
detrimental to
around.
this country because the reality is so many people who are earning money, okay, are moving their base out of this country. We're raping the country of its finances.
No, well, ours is simple. With the Aboriginal Heritage Act, because
Yep.
our investment properties are considered strata properties, if we want to paint our stratas, because in the Heritage Act it states that if you renovate your house over a strata property over 1,100 square meters, we have to get a permit.
Crazy.
I'm not
Absolutely.
getting a permit to paint my house. You can go fuck yourself. So we're selling up and we're leaving.
Right.
We're taking all our assets offshore.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah. And,
we'll
and-
still be here, but
yeah.
our assets won't
Yeah.
be.
Look, you've got to get advice from a professional on this sort of stuff
Sure.
before you
Oh,
make those kind of
great
decisions
recovery,
that
Derek.
Travis has done. This is not an endorsement to be like Travis in terms of because everybody's situation is very
Of course
different,
it is.
and you've got to consider that, guys. You've also got to see. Look, this is very early days in terms of how the IRS will look at this, how Australia will respond in terms of this ruling, but it is huge. It's going to be a big deal, and it's exciting for those who have believed in crypto for a long time. They call them the Ripple Army, the XRP Army, and that sort of stuff. What is interesting, though, in light of this, is there are some concerns that XRP itself, or Ripple, is encouraging a one world economy and that sort of thing because of what its mandate is.
Okay.
That's another issue, a separate issue for another day. I just think the technology can be used for any currency that you so choose. It's kind of like radio can be used for good or evil. The crypto itself is neither good nor evil. It's how it's
Yeah,
used,
absolutely.
and that I think you have to make that distinguish in
Well,
in,
I
in
think
dealing
right
with it.
now, your fiat currency, quite frankly, is a pit bull. It depends how it's being used. It's either your best friend or it's violent as hell.
Well, they say that cash, is used for drug money. Well, you buy your milk with that, and you buy
Yeah,
your bread with that, and your
that's
clothes with that. I mean, it's the
They
same
use
thing. It's the same
gold
thing
for
with
drug
Bitcoin,
money.
and
they use CDs for drug money. They use stolen TVs for drug money. So are we don't ban TVs now? We don't ban CDs. Are we don't ban anything that can be used for ill-gotten
Well, I don't know.
gains?
The US government's gone really hard on making sure drugs are available for all anyway. So,
Yeah.
maybe
Especially in the White
yeah,
House. So
yes, exactly.
hey,
Yeah.
Josh just rocked up a little bit late as we're about to wrap up.
That's okay.
Now, we've had an interesting comment here from Catherine. Catherine, if you're in Perth, I'd love to get you in to talk about this one, actually. So I don't know if this will fit in the screen. There are only 83,000 hectares of wets. I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's some weird scientific name. Forest left in northern Queensland.
Okay.
Arc Energy is just a ministerial tick away from ripping into thousands of into 1,000 to construct industrial wind turbine development. Arc Energy, a subsidiary of Korea Zinc, will learn in September if Environment Minister Tanya Pilsek is prepared to disturb the tranquility of the forest near Ravenshoe on the some of these table like names are amazing, to make way for 86 megawatts of wind turbines.
Right. Funny enough, just
And my
over,
phone is ringing, so
Yes.
I can't.
you certainly do. Just over the last few days, actually, a very interesting video has popped up on social media that goes through. It's actually from someone who was working for one of the Queensland ministers, I believe. who actually goes through the legitimacy of the wind turbines and how much they're costing, what they're doing to the environment and whatever, and lays it all out. And there's absolutely nothing positive in there about those wind turbines. So if you're going to destroy a rainforest to put these things up, you basically
How about we just put it somewhere else? Don't put it in the middle of a middle of a rainforest.
absolutely now.
Like we're Australia, we're covered in like deserts. Like I'm sure you can find a desert to put a wind turbine there or something. Like,
Right.
come off.
Thoroughly
us.
agree. Now we have 1 minute left of the show, so I'm going to throw to Derek, mate. Let's tighten this up. What are your thoughts on the crypto point of view? Do you see it as the silver and gold if we're looking at that way? Or
I
what
think
is-
it's, well, in terms of sending money to, Brian, who lives 3,000 miles away.
Sure.
This is a solution.
Yep.
Cryptocurrency can do that. The reason there's been such a battle is to get it off the banks.
Of
The
course.
banks, the middleman does not want to be cut out of the game.
And the fees are huge.
Yeah.
Like to send money to Vietnam, 7%.
Yeah, and they're
Crazy.
scraping on the foreign exchange. They're scraping on the fees to do it.
Yep.
This is eliminating the need for them, and they've been caught out. And I think that's why there's been such a discreditation of this, especially in the early days where they were
Yep.
bagging it out.
Okay. All right.
So,
with that,
Before we go,
Mhm.
I think Connie, DJ Constar, what sort of
Yes.
music you got lined up for us next?
Cool.
So Eiffel 65. I'm blue. La-dee-dee-dee,
why not? Why not?
la-dee-dee-dee-dee.
Indeed. All right. Well,
Have you actually got that?
of course we have, mate. We'll
And,
pick that up.
Just
Just
what
you.
is it? Coco Mumbo Jumbo? What is it?
What are
Oh,
you
yeah,
on?
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Coco Jumbo.
Why don't you just put your
yeah,
hands
yeah,
up in the
yeah.
air and we'll move on. Fantastic. Thank you very much for being part of the show today.
What's the one?
Let's
I
go to
like
Wealth.
it this way.
Oh dear. Yes.
Backdoor Boys. I mean, Backstreet Boys.
It's Edge Radio Australia. We'll see you next week.
Don't you feel it growing day by day? People.
Oh,
Sorry, we're still on air.
Back to back with Flowmax. That's right. You realize
That's right, absolutely. So, like, we can do it differently, but
What about last night's pizza?
What do you call it?
What have you met the new
What happened to the interview that we did now?
What's she like?
Shaq.
Is she terrible? I've listened to her review, and she's actually
I don't
she's not too bad.
because I'm interested in that.
I heard she's really shy.
Yeah, she's-
She's 16.
The show that Travis, that Shaq and I did. Have you?
Did you slot that in on?
I didn't slot it in. Did I transfer it to you? I thought I transferred it into the old one. Yeah. Is that the one where everything just broke?
Yeah, that day, they
Yeah,
did some jobs, so I just feel,
Yeah.
I do. like
It's a
that.
shame. That was a really good show.
It was long, and I'm in the middle of editing that one. And I wanted to hold off if you hadn't heard it.
Yeah. No.
Well, can I ask you this favour? If you're going to edit it, can I grab the next version because I want to run that into a Sunday show?
Yeah.
Because I tried to do it and it wasn't there. I thought,
Do you record your shows?
so I'm hoping to talk to myself as he not to do stuff.
The only problem is I've got my one rating stuff in it.
What?
Give my respect.
Music bed underneath, rock and roll. Okay. All right.
Because we ran it as pretty much a podcast, so it wasn't.
Well, I'll run you
It's
up
actually
the
closer to
three
computer
version.
than this thing.
I would appreciate that very much.
Oh, jeez. So what should I do? Just send it to Aaron and then send it to you.
I just put
I'll
it.
send it to you.
How'd you go with downloading the QNAS?
Yeah, it happened. It's fine. It just took a little bit longer. Yeah.
No, it's just because with TeamViewer it's a direct connection. There's maybe security and safety things. So
Yeah,
we have actually on Dropbox. But it's a QNAP server, so it's like Dropbox. But we don't have it.
so at the moment it's running out about an hour and 30 minutes. I'm just going to.
So anyway,
What was that?
just while we
That's how long you got.
Where? Okay.
it was on. Sorry, we're still streaming live onto social media, so if anyone has any comments. So one thing I did want to reach out to Catherine about this, what's going on with these wetlands in Queensland. Hey, Catherine, are you in Perth or are you over Queensland? No response. I might get Aaron to reach out to you. because I've read some of the posts that she puts out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Politically, well, that's just phenomenal. I think she's amazing.
Fantastic.
She's got some really good insights.
For sure,
Really
that
good
would be
insights.
fantastic.
So yeah. Now the other one is because we're running off the camera's microphone.
Yep.
How, just for the people listening online, especially you, Josh, can you hear us okay? You know, I love having this over there. I know it sucks for you, so I don't care.
There is a microphone now.
Hear the camera?
All the way over there. So, okay, but how we're going to run this is we're going to run 2 cameras there, or 2 up there, so we can.
Eventually, we'll have 2 cameras, but we'll need to extend the. I'm actually kind of thinking, can we get a wireless camera? So we just have a tripod or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why don't you go get ourselves a couple of GoPros? We send you they can be wireless.
Oh, do it from GoPro. Okay, how new a GoPro?
I can hear through you. Can't hear the last. Miss the name. DJ Constar. Say hello.
Hello?
Oh, we're not going through these ones.
these ones turned off the mic.
Oh,
That's just what
Is mine on?
No, it's not. That's why I couldn't get a signal. I was signaling to you before, but there we go. I thought to myself, I reckon
The microphone was off.
because I'm looking at the pushing it up, and getting no signal.
That was an unsmooth transition.
Yes. Someone's been playing with mine.
Yeah, it's called Kids.
Ah, yeah.
The kids aren't here, we'll blame them.
Yeah, why not? Why not? All right, that's cool. Yeah, no, if we can get it, but it's okay. As far as the GoPro goes, I'm trying to avoid my GoPros 11s and that.
No, I don't want GoPros full stop because they're shit. What I want is Black Magics.
Yes.
Because the studio cameras are wireless. We just put them on the tripod, move them around, and happy days.
Yep.
Because we can run the Blackmagic 6K cameras directly into the ATM ISO H8, and then there's just no wires full stop.
There were a lot of letters there, weren't there?
And it's also about $14,000 worth of equipment. So anyone there rich and they want to give us a fuck ton of money, and I'm serious, like I mean a fuck ton of money, we could do with about $20,000 or $30,000. So yeah, please help. See, it's not hard. You just ask for money and people throw it at you.
Do it?
No. Would she then be a Black Magic woman?
Hey!
Metric or imperial? Nah, just Aussie dollars will be fine for me. The 30K. Yeah, so it's good to. You know, Josh, you need to start taking Mondays off work so you can just come into the studio and give everyone.
Oh, mate, I'd like that. That'd be great. Actually. Yeah, you don't need a job. Come on.
Who needs money?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
right.
sitting here begging for money. Like, who needs money? So, yeah. Hang on, I need to get to Subiaco. So, is the metric or imperial fuck ton? Sometimes you're too smart for your own good, Josh.
Oh dear.
Like you can tell he's got kids.
Well, George, you're welcome anytime, mate. And if you could replace him, I'd really appreciate it.
So I am going to pull up the train.
Yes, you do that.
I need to get to Subiaco to prep for my.
You've got all your audio gear. You're all set.
I'm not doing nothing.
Oh.
I'm rocking up there big fights. Not really, but yeah.
Okay.
Better in print. Is that because you can type faster than what you can talk, Josh? Sorry, Josh said he's better in print.
Fair call. Fair call. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. So you want to shut the stream down?
Would you like me to shut the stream?
That'd be lovely.
Okay, no worries, I'll shut the
Thanks,
stream.
Pete.